üdvözölni a Balassi Intézet New York-i intézetének igazgatóját, Romsics Gergelyt, aki történész, hogy egy kicsit világítson rá arra, hogy mi is az oral history, történelmi emlékezet.
Ildikó just encouraged me to speak in English. I don't know if that's too offset. Ambassadors come in, in a preponderance of Hungarian. Tényleg beszélek? Van bárki a teremben, aki nem ért? Is there anyone who does not understand Hungarian in the room? There are. Okay, then I will speak in English. Thank you, Ildikó, for asking me to do this, because I'm much happier doing this, frankly, than trying to say why what you have done is important for the local community. There are people who will say that and can tell that better than I could. And there's also, as Ambassador Kumin just outlined, the importance of this work from the point of view of the commemorations. What is the historical significance of what is the academic significance, if you prefer, of what is on the walls? Let me begin by saying that in the study of memory, in history and sociology, we usually distinguish between two types of memory. One we refer to as communicative and one we refer to as cultural. Communicative memory is usually defined as memory which lives on in society. Those people who carry it are still among us, they talk about it, they debate about it. It usually is characterized by not having large narratives, well-formed stories about the past, but a large host of competing mini-stories about what happened in the recent past. Cultural memory, on the other hand, tends to be frozen. It's not frozen after revolution when everything is reinterpreted, but usually it's frozen, it's cold memory, as Claude Lévi-Strauss referred to it. Cold because it is well-formed, it is organized into large stories that make the past intelligible. Now, it could be that in a given country or society there are several large stories and they are not at peace with each other, they are conflictual. And that is, of course, in several ways the case in Hungary. But if you look back to the period before the Second World War, you can definitely say that it is characterized by a few large narratives and those define the way the vast majority of people think about the past. Now, 1956 is right now where what, to introduce a third term, historians tend to call the floating gap currently resides. The floating gap is the term that was coined by Jan Rosinka, historian and philosopher, to describe this ever-moving border between communicative and cultural memory. The floating gap shifts. As time passes on, obviously the floating gaps follow us. So right now, I believe that 1945 to 1968 is where the floating gap is moving. That means that there are still people with us who can talk about it, but we are also witnessing the formation of large narratives, large stories about the period, including 1956. In this situation, what Ildikó has done and what some others have been doing in Hungary is of paramount importance, because this is almost the last moment when we can take communicative memory, collect it, organize it, structure it, and, if you like, upload it into the nascent cultural memory that is being born as we speak. Why is it important? Well, it's important so that cultural memory and history do not diverge, so that we do not fall victim to myths, we do not fall victim to simplifications, that we have a nuanced view of our own past, that we can accommodate in our past various different perspectives of different people, and so to make it richer, to have a more democratic, a more inclusive cultural memory about 1956 and about everything else, we need this kind of work. I would like to point out that, for instance, in a city like Berlin, for the past 20 years, over 150 social activist groups with the sponsorship of various German universities and the city of Berlin have been working on the oral history collection of the city. Now, unfortunately, as in so many other things, Germany tends to be a little bit more structured and better funded than some of the things that we do. All the more important that there are activists, that there are committed people like Ildikó, like Gergely, like Norbert, who have taken it upon themselves, and also you have homologues, you have people engaging in similar activity in Hungary, fortunately. That we have these kind of activists and very professional, mind you. This is not an amateur work. There is a political scientist involved, a sociologist, anthropologist involved, a professional visual expert involved, so that there are these people who bring their expertise out of their own volition, apply it to the material, and help us create the kind of cultural memory that strong democratic states need to have, which is nuanced, rich, strong, inclusive, and so that we help communicative memory be transformed into cultural memory in a way that will help us later in the future to function as a society. This is extremely important, and I believe that this is the historical significance of the work that is being done, to have, through the medium of oral history, of interviews, an enrichment of our understanding for the past, not even necessarily in this very moment, when the people are still with us. We can walk up to them and talk to them, fortunately, and let's hope that it will be like this for a number of years to come, but also in the long term. In the long term, cultural memory will remain, and when only that remains, this is the kind of work that defines how that will look. So thank you very much for your input and contribution.